Action. All right. Well, find some words here out of nowhere. But this is, I can say this is definitely a gentleman I know and respect. Come to know over the last 6 months now, at least. 6 months, yeah. Yeah, 6, 7 months. Yeah, come a long way in a very short time. Yeah. You know, very pleased to call him a friend and business colleague and almost a client. Yeah, we talked about it.
Almost a client.
If we talk, they're a client. Everyone here to me is a client, so I tease you when I say that. But that being said, Elias, I think you have a few words that you want to chip in here before we kick things off.
Sure, Brian. Let me come in front of the camera instead of behind the camera. I love being an engineer, but I also...
Well, you got to take the spotlight too.
Anyway, so Clyde Voorhies, I finally learned to properly pronounce his name today after, 7 months? We did meet him about 7 months ago, and we had connected on Facebook through a mutual friend. I can't remember who that friend was. I think you do, but somebody connected us, right? And we started sending you event invites, and we were talking through some private messages. This was about 7 months ago. And I remember I was driving to a Tracy GNA event 7 months ago, and I was probably maybe about 5 miles from the wonderful Altamont Pass. I just love the Altamont Pass, right? Except when you get flat tires on it after a GNA event at 10 o'clock at night. It's not fun, right?
You don't want that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've experienced that, last November. You remember that? You and I were talking in the parking lot after that event for a while, and it happened an hour later. But I ended up getting this private message from Clyde as I was driving. I kind of briefly glanced at my phone. I'm not supposed to do that while you're driving. But I ended up pulling off the side of the road because I wanted to get him to come to the event. And I felt like if I didn't respond to him, he might not feel comfortable coming. He was asking, hey, is it okay if I bring my kids to the event? And I was like, well, we kind of had that before, and they were kind of disruptive. Like, well, my kids are really nice and quiet and just really amazing kids. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, if that's what they think, you come to the event, we're gonna deal with it, right? Yeah. But fast forward, several months later, and Clyde's wonderful kids are here again tonight. They are some of the most amazing children hey, how you doing? See, they're even very respectful. They acknowledge our presence, and that's you and Shawnee have taught them well. But from that point on, I remember, I believe you were at that event, Brian, and we met Clyde and Shawnee that night. And I remember that Clyde was like really excited and really outgoing. I remember Shawnee was happy to be here, but she was more on the quiet side at that point. It was all brand new to her, more brand new to her than to you, right? And now we fast forward 7 months later. Margaret Edwards we should talk about this since we're recording this, Brian. Margaret Edwards decided to step down a couple of months ago as the chairperson of Tracy GNA due to time constraints and other obligations. And we appreciate her services. We needed to find somebody that could, somehow try to replace the wonderful efforts that Margaret made, right, Brian?
Not to mention Margaret, but also the big shoes that Dennis Edwards also carried.
Exactly, Dennis Edwards, Margaret's other half. Shall we say better half on behalf of
That's just a lot of halves.
Right? And so, Brian and I were talking on the phone one night, and we're like, who are we going to put in Tracy? And Brian came up with an idea. I kind of had it in my head, but I kind of wanted to see what he was thinking first. We were like on the same, he goes, what about Clyde? I'm like, dude, I was thinking the same exact thing. I'm like, let me reach out to him. You're like, let me reach out to him, right? You're like, you're going to reach out to him. The funny thing is, he sent me a private message the next morning for something else not related to this. Mm-hmm. So I kind of stepped on your toes on accident. I didn't need to do that, Mr. Dollar Director. And I made him aware, and I know you were busy, so we were kind of helping out. And next thing you know, Clyde said, yeah, I'll do it. And this guy is one of the most passionate people that I've met. He's got some great businesses for tails only. Mm-hmm. He loves animals. Are you still doing bicycles also as well too?
No, actually I kind of, I'm doing it, but it's kind of sideline. I haven't totally given up on it. I'm just kind of putting my efforts to it.
But you're also, like we talked on the radio show today, which will be on Decent Internet Radio soon, you also are now a sales trainer with, or grooming to become a sales trainer for Eric Waffle International.
am the sales
You
trainer.
are a sales trainer.
I'm a
Good.
sales trainer, yes. It's the coaching part of the business that I haven't started.
Ah, fantastic. So, just an amazing person, and Clyde and Brian, thank you for giving me this opportunity to say some nice words about you. So the rest of the intro is all yours, Brian. You can welcome our wonderful speaker here. I'm out of here.
Oh, absolutely. How do I follow that act? No, but without further ado, I'm very pleased to present Mr. Clyde Voorhies, the Tracy Chapter GNA Chairperson.
So tonight I wanted to talk about something that I really feel is important in everybody's business. If you read the thing, it's how do we find, or where do we find our customers? In the Eric Lofholm group, we also call it lead generation. It's generating leads. It's part of the sales training thing. So, normally I would go off and I would start off with the introduction of who I am, but I think we've already covered that by now. So let me go back into a definition. Okay, I want to define what the right people are, and the right people means those who have a need or an interest in your product, for whom the time is right. Not everybody is at the right moment for your product, even though you may think they need it. Or you may say, oh, I know you need this, but not necessarily, they may not think it. They may not be on the same page. So for them, the time's not right. And they're not quite the right person. So where not to find customers? Well, let's do this. How many people like to get that call at dinner time on the phone? The telemarketer calling them up going, yes, I'd like to sell you something.
The sales pitch, Clyde?
Oh yeah. How many of them do all of that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's just pure entertainment there. Don't do that. Don't do phone calls. I mean, cold calls are one thing, and you're calling people out of the blue, but calling people at their home? The other great thing to not do, spam. Don't spam people. You want to turn off your business, spam people. And that'll drive everybody in the other direction. So in the Eric Lofholm thing, we have 3 ways to elevate our business. It's called the inner game, the outer game, and action. I'm going to kind of apply this to finding customers, to lead generation. Now, before I do that, let me explain what those terms mean. The inner game is our thoughts, our mindset, how we view that process. In the sales world, we sabotage ourselves by not having the right mindset. That I don't really want to be salesy, I don't want to come off. That's our sabotage. And the right way to think about doing sales is to begin with our self-talk. It's that little voice in ourselves that says, hey, you can do this. This isn't a bad thing. You're not hurting people. You're not trying to sell them something horrible. Right? For the outer game, that is what we call the processes, the actions that we have, the steps we take to talk to people, the steps we take to get customers, to make that set. It's the actions that are the plan that we take to do it. And the action part is actions. It's the the motivations. They're going out there, they're making the calls, they're talking to people, they're doing the stuff. It's the part of your business that you really do things. If you could focus on those three things on any part of the business, you're going to elevate those businesses. You're going to make sure that things are starting to roll in the right direction. Okay? So, in finding lead generation, one of the things that I had noticed in dealing with the Visalis was finding the right people. Now, for me, it was really kind of difficult because I wasn't in that kind of crowd. You know, we've all heard the phrase, the classic phrase about brick and mortar business. What's the most important part? Location, 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 right? So for people with home businesses, how do you get location? You can't go take your house and go move it next to Walmart, right? We have to find some other way where we can be in the right location at the right time to get involved with these people. Give you kind of a story about some of my younger days. Now, when I was 22, I'd just gotten back from Australia. I was still in the Air Force. I used to go out partying all the time. Loved to go out and hang out at the clubs, go dancing, hanging out with the people. I loved it. It was fun. I was young, but what I found was, if you weren't in the right crowd, if you didn't talk to the right people, you wouldn't know where the next club to be at. You could end up sitting in a club going, where is everybody? You wouldn't know where the right place to go, because they had a specific pattern that they would go to in each of the clubs, and they would go around across the city. And so, if you weren't in that clique, so to speak, you wouldn't know where to go. You wouldn't be at the right event. Well, in business, if you're in like the health and wellness type business, that kind of stays the same. Is if you want to be around people who are looking to lose weight, where do you go? Well, the natural place is to go to the gym, right? You want to go to some place where people are doing that kind of event. You need to be promoting, in a sense, that lifestyle. You've got to be part of that lifestyle. If you're doing insurance, right? When do you do insurance? Well, you want to find people who are having kids, right? They're starting families. These people want to have, they're starting to think about, okay, I might need some insurance. I need to get it on my kids. I need to get it on my life. Newlyweds. Maybe somebody after they passed, they lost a loved one. They want to kind of find somebody. And there's various people in different stages, but you want to get into that right frame, that right place for them. So for the homeowner, the location, or for the home business, location is more than just a physical place. It's about being involved with that type of activity to generate the leads. One of the other things we talk about in the sales training is intention. What that kind of means is, if you really want to go do something, you say, hey, I need customers, I need to get my business going. You need to set the intention to go do it. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go talk to 5 people today. I'm going to set my intention to set up a website. I'm going to set up the intention. I'm going to try to call some people that I've met, referrals, things like that. That all kind of defines into the inner game. It's our thinking and how we think about getting those leads, how we set our mind to getting ourselves in the right place. The outer game is the part of the process where we have to set up a way to do it. For some people, things like your squeeze pages, your internet access, right? That directs people to, it gets leads to you so that you can make these kind of calls. Right? So basically, if you want to go bear hunting, where do you go? Well, you don't go to the city for it. Right?
What, the forest?
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Again, I go back to the part where when we're looking for the people to buy things, we want to get in front of the people at the time when they want to purchase. Oops. So some of the other ways to get contacts, to generate leads, to find people, is what we're all here for, networking. Right? That's why we're here, right? We're here to network. But what does networking mean? Does that mean I get to go talk to everybody selling you my stuff? No. What networking really means is I'm going to find people who have a network of their own that have my customers in it. It's called a person of influence or power partners. There's many different words for it depending on what group you're talking to. So what that kind of is let's say, I'll do a good real world example. My Fortel's only business, right? For me, a very good power person or person of influence would be Debbie Walsh, right? Because she has a dog training business. So her customers are going to need my products. And it's vice versa to her. See, we mutually help each other out in a collaborative point. So I promote her to my downline, or to my network. She promotes me to her network. And then we basically join our networks together. So we get a bigger customer base instead of just one person. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I have a question though, what you just said. In my mind, everybody, you do dogs, right? Dogs and cats.
Yeah.
In my mind, every house has a dog or a cat. So wouldn't everybody be your power partner?
Absolutely.
No?
Absolutely. Now it's not
I saw
just
someone shaking their head.
Not necessarily
No.
a power partner. But
well, yeah, not necessarily a power partner. When you talk about a person of influence, you're talking about somebody that can influence that network. Somebody that can, when they suggest something, people actually will go try it. Not everybody is an influential person.
Okay.
Some people are. Elias, definitely a power influencer.
Thanks for the kind words, Clyde, but I'm just myself. That's all.
When Elias talks, everybody listens, right?
Not necessarily. Right, Brian? Yeah. There's your proof right there. This guy, Central Valley Area Director. Yeah. You know I had to do that, sorry.
So that also brings me up to another point, is a thing they call collaborative partners. Now, collaboration partner is somebody who you work with closely, somebody who will definitely promote your business. That's their whole intent. And these people might have a database of people that they talk to on a regular basis, people that have blogs, people who really communicate to other people. And as a collaborative partner, you might say, hey, can you send out a message to all your people in your advertisement that I'm having a 25% sale tomorrow, or this week, or I'm doing this next week. And then they kind of go, sure, and they post that out to you, which will in turn bring customers back into you because everybody's going to be calling you back. Another one is, they call it 3R. It's reciprocal referral relationship. And that kind of goes along the same lines with your power of influence. But this case, a reciprocal referral relationship, the person doesn't necessarily have to be a power of influence, a person of influence. They could just be somebody in their network. They could just be people who just talk to everybody in the network. And that's kind of what you were talking about. Yes, the household people, like I might know 5 people that I can refer to you. So in turn, you would say, hey, I'll refer back 5 other people to you who need your business. That's kind of a referral relationship. Another lead generation, which we all kind of use, social media. Everybody's on Facebook. But there's more than just Facebook. You got LinkedIn, there's Tumblr, there's Instagram, there's Pinterest, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of different types. The one thing I've actually noticed about this, though, is with these social medias, is there is a kind of a type of person, like a generation of people to it. Like some of the younger generation tend to use other social networking besides Facebook. So if your target market is somebody in that age, then you need to appropriate that to that level. Right? You don't want to be talking off to Facebook when all your people are sitting over there on Instagram, right? You're just not gonna be connecting with the right people. One of the things that I don't do very often, which I like to do, a lot of the network marketing companies do a lot of. That's home parties, social events, right? Many regular businesses don't do home parties because they're not in that kind of thing. But how many people would you gain by having just an informal get-together at your place? Hey, I'm inviting my friends, come on over. We'll just talk about things. We'll sit down, we'll discuss things. You give them a few-minute presentation on what you got, what you do to all the new guests that you don't know, as well as to some of the other people, your other families and friends. It generates more leads. Then you can ask them, hey, do you know anybody that might need my services? That can kind of generate more leads. Coffee meetings. How many go on coffee meetings? Everybody should be raising their hand. Even me. But I don't.
Oh, yeah.
People like myself who are really busy all the time, coffee meetings are like impossible to do. I mean, when you have 5 children, 5 family, daytime job, coffee meetings are really hard. My coffee meetings are happen to be on weekends, when I do have them. And they tend to be when I'm not at a vendor event. Which brings me to another type of lead generation, vendor events. How many people do vendor events? Do you guys, anybody do them? I know we do. Do you know how hard they are to get into? Have you ever been to one? Social?
They're not hard to get into.
Not really.
Don't pay money, you're fine.
Yeah.
Well, that all depends, though. They will only take one from your company, so
Yeah, some of
if
the
you don't
good
happen
ones.
to be the first one to get it, you can't get it.
Yes.
Well, it's all knowing when the events are and sign up first.
Yes. But if you're not in that kind of flow, you're not going to be able to know when that event is going to be.
You know, it's very resourceful. You can find out any event going on.
Yes. Use the internet, the Facebook. There's like tons of groups out there that talk about different vendor events in like almost every city across America. Sometimes there's more than one. Charlie and I have been involved with setting them up. That's a lot of fun. Setting up your own event, hosting things. I mean, GNA kind of does that in the holidays, right?
Do we ever?
Yeah. It's the only time we actually do vendor events for the most part is at that event, the holiday extravaganza. And there's a reason for that.
And I'm hoping to get a little more with the GNA to do that. But that's another thing.
Okay.
I'll go over that later after the
Sure.
after this.
Just keep paying it forward and we'll give you one. Keep paying it forward above and beyond, and that's how we do it. Anybody can do it, right, Brian? Anybody, you don't have to be a chairperson. It could be anybody that comes in as a standard member, you know? The more you pay it forward, the more you're on our radar, the more chance that Brian, myself, and the other executives will offer you a free vendor table at our holiday extravaganza, which is our biggest event of the year, happening right here.
So the last thing I have for the honor games, the stuff to do, is the processes to do it, is one thing I see big companies not do, and that's neglect your current customers. Have you ever bought something and you've never heard from the company again? Nothing, right? They're advertising, oh, we're having this sale, we're having that, get 35% off, and you're going, wait a minute, really? I'm paying this premium price and you're not going to offer me something? What's up with that? Contact your previous customers. Let them know you appreciate them being there. That right there will generate a lot of revenue for your company just by appreciating the customers, because nothing spreads faster than word of mouth advertisement. If your customers are really appreciated, they won't hesitate to tell somebody about your company. They'll say, hey, have you ever heard of this guy? You need to go here. You need to do it. Go to the vendor events. Make the calls. There are a lot of people who just don't do it. They get the customers, they get the referrals, and they just don't do anything. They leave it. Leave money on the table. Gotta put the effort forward. Gotta step up and just do the work. That brings in a lot of money. Reach out on a regular basis. Talk to your friends, talk to customers. Like you said, don't go and neglect them. Look at the vendor events. Look at outside the box of where you normally would see your customers. Sometimes you never know. All right. So any other questions? Comments?
Someone's got to have some questions.
We got to do a question.
All right.
We're talking about lead generation,
Yeah.
and I was just kind of curious on what your thoughts were on lead generation in terms of social media versus the actual physical touch. And I was kind of like more directed towards Brian, again, his real estate business, and also in your credit repair. How successful are you in lead generation in terms of social media?
Social media, it really isn't about what I'm putting out. It's when I put something out that someone makes a comment. That's really what gives it the best opportunity to create some businesses. If someone says something, about what I'm doing, how it's worked for them. As far as production and income right now, I would say that me going out and beating the street and offering my services to the connectors that Clyde was just talking about, as being my realtors and lenders, because they're constantly getting people that want to buy a home and have credit issues and things of that nature. So they refer those clients to me, so that way they can produce more business. So we're like an alliance, an allegiance, by me being able to assist them and the person that they're talking to. It works really well. So social media for us is something we use, but it's not something that's a big lead generator for this kind of industry.
Absolutely. Yeah. More like a collaborative partnership that you have.
Yeah, it's definitely something you want to have and you want to use.
Yeah, I would say over social media, I would say the physical touches are more important than the social media. It's great to post things. It's great to get people's, basically make yourself ubiquitous and in everybody's household. But you really do need to make those marketing touch. You need to get yourself there.
May I give my spin on social media? Because I live on it.
Yes, you do.
This whole network was pretty much built off of Facebook, and most of us wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Facebook. And so, in my opinion, so now we have a marketing guy here, Zero BS Marketing. Facebook is a great tool to connect with people. You're not necessarily going to do business with them. You're not reaching out to connect with them because you're trying to pitch them a product. You both sell a product, but you want to get to know each other and create a power partnership or a collaboration like Clyde was discussing. Because I'll tell you what happens when you don't try to pitch everyone that you meet, or don't pitch anyone. You're going to do more business, and you're going to connect with people. Like an example, how many of you have heard of Troy Brewer, CEO and founder of Discover County Network? Mm-hmm. Raise your hand if you heard of Troy Brewer. Okay. So Troy Brewer has a huge network, but so do I, right? We had something to offer to each other. We were connected with a mutual friend. It was about a year and a half ago. This mutual friend of ours, and I kind of shared this story with you, earlier today off the radio interview with you, Clyde. But this person connected us. Next thing you know, she vanished when she could have been a part of this and winning big off of it. What ended up happening between Troy and I is that we combined our networks and we built one bigger network. And he has certain advertising methods he helps the GNA with, and the GNA has certain methods of promoting things that we help him with. And together, we're building a better dream for everyone. So, if I would have met Troy and said, "Hey, Troy, do you need insurance?" Nah. Come on, Troy. Everyone has a car, it's only going to take you 15 minutes, right? I keep doing that Geico commercial, right? And now the insurance thing. Oh, we can do it in 7.5 minutes. Yeah, right. What kind of quote are you going to produce in 7.5 minutes, right? So we laugh about it, right? But I've never pitched anybody. I've grown my business because I've never pitched anybody. I've built relationships with people. Facebook's a great tool to build relationships. Now, you can do business on Facebook. Once you get to know the people you meet on Facebook by coming to the live events. Thank you, boss. And you're the other boss. The live what, Clyde? The live events, right?
Live meetings.
Then you shake as many hands as I've shaken, and Troy's shaken, and Brian's shaken, right? Then you go back and post on Facebook. Now you've got people that know you and respond because they know who you are, right?
Yep.
Does that make any sense? So the problem with people is that they're using social media, they're just sharing these links, and they're just pitching stuff out there. And you know what? I have no clue who you are. Why should I give you my credit card, when I actually know somebody in my network that does that same thing? Right? Who are you going to go with if you see someone on Facebook pitching a product one of your friends sells that you need?
Your friend.
There are other people that do credit repair, right?
Sure.
But who do we know that does credit repair at the GNA?
I do.
Bill Ames, right?
Yes.
Okay? So if someone says, hey, you know what, I need a credit repair guy, 10 people that know Bill Ames are going to say, Bill Ames was saving my credit, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way it works there. You know why? Because this guy here has been consistently coming to the
events.
You don't like the camera, do you?
I love the camera.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I was laughing at Kelly.
It's okay. She loves the camera. Kelly, it's okay. This is Kelly. She's one of our new members. This is her second month here.
Yeah.
Welcome. Now, all of Northern California will see this on YouTube once we put it out there. And we want them to know you, right?
Sure.
Because they're going to say, who is this lady, right? What does she do, right? They may see this video and say, hey, who is she, right?
Exactly.
And it might be a lead or a referral. It could lead to a great power partnership, right? But at the end of the day, the one thing that this guy over here and I have always talked about, that's Brian Schilling, owner of Zero BS Marketing. See, we're allowed to talk about them. If I was coming here saying, hi, I'm Elias Melas with Professional Insurance Associates, and I want to sell you all a policy here, you'd be like, who the heck is this guy, right? But if I say, hey, Tiffany Longtain with Tiny Toes Gymnastics, right? And that's cool, right? Because now I'm talking about you, and I'm more concerned about you than just myself. Okay? And that's the thing. So, Brian, always keep a good relationship with everyone that you meet, because you never know what's going to come out of it at the end of the day, right? Or maybe, a week down the road, or a year down the road.
Or 2 or 3 years.
Or 3 or 5 years down the road, right?
Can I add something, if I could?
Yes, you're on camera.
With social media, as far as what you were saying, with my business too, I've seen a lot of tracking and stuff with people across the world. So, with Skype or sites like that, it's kind of intertwined. So if I have like Facebook or, even a Pinterest account, which can revenate, income for me, I realized that even by using those kind of, like, not necessarily touching the customer, but having a camera, having Skype up so that you're able to, like, combine all those things together. Mm-hmm. So it's the computer, it's the relationship, like Elias was saying, as far as, like, a Facebook network. It's also, having that Skype available for people to have visual, if they're not available, because that really is convenient for people. And then not only that, it's like touching and going to group meetings like this and shaking somebody's hand, because I believe in authenticity also, and that really touches people when you're able to be genuine and show that connection. So I think with those 3 things, that's really good.
That was really good.
Opinion.
Yeah, I was actually going right down that road, so we're thinking the same thing here. Yeah, when I think about before I started my marketing business, I started online doing internet marketing, and I built my initial network totally through Skype. And I'm talking, hundreds, thousands of people that I met across not just the United States, but around the world. And I did business with people around the world that I never met. But I networked with them through Skype, through not even video calls, just chitter-chat around through Skype, sending us some messages back and forth, taking time to...
How are you today, right?
Exactly. They utilize some group chat rooms that are in there, but you can also do one-on-ones. And, so for example, this morning, I haven't used Skype much lately, I've kind of gotten away from it, but I was thinking about my real estate business, and I was thinking, hey, I remember this guy that I met several years ago, who was in Florida, who did real estate, and did some kind of, I can't remember what he did with real estate, but I remember there was something real estate. And so I reached out to him, to just say, hey, long time no talk, how you been? And, we got talking, and he actually mentioned what he was doing. He said he was busy launching a new rehab business, which, that's exactly the type of people that I work with in my real estate. Mm-hmm. And through talking to him a little bit about that, I found out his dad actually is an investor, which is who I want to work with as well. So, boom, bam, done. Connection I made several years ago that, I kind of put in my mental Rolodex. Didn't know when, where, how he fit into the picture, but just got to know him. Sticks out.
That's another thing that through the ELI trainers program we teach is never throw away contacts unless they specifically ask for them. Because you never know. Yeah, I know somebody else says toss them in the garbage. I don't believe in it. I think it's silly. Unless they specifically tell me don't talk to me anymore, you never know. Life changes. They might need you 5 years down the road.
Hey, Clyde, they don't ask you to remove you off their email now. They just unfriend you off of Facebook.
Yeah, they do.
That's what the thing is now. Remember?
Yeah, now they just say, no, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'll unfriend you.
Remember those days where, hey, take me off your list because there's no way you could block it. Now you just get unfriended, right?
Unfriended or
blocked.
Or you can block them,
Right.
Yeah.
Another reason not to be annoying and spamming and pitching everybody, you'll get blocked.
Well, one more thing I'll add to that, I think you're touching on this a bit, is the most important thing you can do to someone, even if you have an idea like, okay, I know I want to talk to Anthony because he's got a huge network of connections, because of his financial business, but I'm not going to lead into him and say, hey, Anthony, I got something you need to see here. No, I'm saying, hey, Anthony, how you doing? Let's catch up. Maybe go grab that infamous elusive cup of coffee. And if we can't do that, we at least say, well, let's set up time we can chat on the phone or chat on Facebook or wherever we might be. And one way or another, we'll connect with each other. And eventually, through talking to them, I'll get across, what I'm looking for, but I'm not going to pitch it.
Yes.
I'm going to say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do here. I think maybe you might be able to help. Maybe you're not, but, I need your feedback. Is this something that would be a win for you? But, also, flip side, how can I help you as well to, quote unquote, pay you back for your efforts and help, for me to grow my business?
Yeah, I think that is part of the really big part of networking, is to listen to the person that you want to network with and listen to how you can help them. Not try to pitch what you're doing, but like I said, listen to what they're talking about. Listen to what their needs are. And that goes to with just getting customers. I mean, you want to have customers, you want to listen to what they're talking about. I was telling Elias today that part of the difference between being an engineer and being an entrepreneur is, or not difference, the similarity between the two, is we both solve problems, right? Well, you can't solve somebody's problem if you don't know what their problem is, right? You don't listen to what they're saying, they're not going to listen. They're not going to want to even be dealing with you. So the best thing to do is just to ask questions and listen. Listen to what they say.
And restate what they said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make sure you're clear about what they're saying.
Always good to, repeat for the sake of being redundant. If I hear Anthony say, I'm looking for people that have lost their jobs and need 401ks, I stop at the lost their jobs. I know, 100 people that lost their jobs. But he's not interested in 100 people that lost their jobs. He's interested in, of those 100, those that might also have a 401k.
Yes.
Yeah, and that could narrow down the list of people that I might be able to refer to him, which, tell me if I'm right, Anthony, this would make a more targeted business for you.
Yes, it would.
It'd be a better use of your time to hand you 50 instead of 100, just by listening.
Just by listening, that would work perfect.
And you'd love Brandon a lot more if he did it that way, right?
I would love him anyway.
Just checking, That's a great answer, man. Especially when you're in public, right?
Does everyone have a question? We have it on film.
Well, didn't someone once say that we should love our neighbor?
Love our neighbor as what?
As ourselves.
That's right.
And look at the impact he made on our earth. And that's why we celebrate.
Another way to put that, Anthony, is treat others the way you'd want to be treated, right?
Exactly.
Right, Mr. Voorhies?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, at this point in the time of the meetings when we usually do our mastermind.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. You just finished? Give Clyde a big round of applause. Wait, we've got to thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Part of the